Nestled in the remote woods of rural Pennsylvania stood Wilburn Academy, an imposing structure that had been abandoned for decades. Its ivy-clad walls and broken windows gave it an eerie, forbidding appearance. Local children whispered about it, daring each other to sneak in but never actually mustering the courage. The school had a dark past, marked by mysterious disappearances and unexplainable events that had led to its closure in the late 1970s. One foggy autumn evening, a group of 5 teenagers, Jessica, Mark, Lisa, Tom, and Rachel, decided to explore the old school. They had grown up hearing the stories and, like many before them, wanted to prove that the rumors were just that, rumors. Armed with flashlights and a video camera, they made their way through the dense forest to the Academy's front gates, which creaked ominously as they pushed them open. Inside, the air was thick with dust and decay. The grand foyer, once a place of bustling activity, was now silent and desolate. Broken desks and chairs were strewn about, and old textbooks lay scattered on the floor, their pages yellowed with age. The group pressed on, their footsteps echoing through the empty hallways. As they ventured deeper into the building, they found themselves in the basement, where the temperature seemed to drop dramatically. The walls were covered in strange, almost ancient markings, and the air felt heavy, as if charged with an unseen presence. Suddenly, the flashlight in Mark's hand flickered and went out, plunging them into darkness. Panic set in as they fumbled to turn the flashlight back on. When the light finally flickered back to life, they realized that Rachel was missing. The group called out for her, their voices trembling with fear, but there was no response. They retraced their steps, scouring the basement for any sign of her, but it was as if she had vanished into thin air. Desperate and terrified, the remaining 4 stumbled upon an old classroom. Inside, they found a dusty, leather-bound journal. Flipping through its pages, they discovered that it belonged to the school's headmaster, Mr. Blackwood. The entries detailed his increasingly erratic behavior and strange rituals he performed in a hidden chamber beneath the school. The last entry was particularly disturbing. It spoke of a dark force that demanded a sacrifice. As they read the journal, they heard a faint melodic humming coming from the hallway. Jessica recognized the tune. It was a lullaby her grandmother used to sing. Compelled by a mix of curiosity and dread, they followed the sound to a hidden door behind a bookcase, which led to a narrow staircase descending into the earth. At the bottom, they found the hidden chamber mentioned in the journal. The room was lit by flickering candles, and in the center stood a stone altar, stained with what looked like dried blood. As they approached, the humming grew louder and more haunting. Suddenly, the candles blew out, and the room was plunged into darkness once more. A chilling voice echoed through the chamber, whispering ancient incantations. The group huddled together, paralyzed with fear, as the temperature plummeted further. Out of the shadows, a tall, gaunt figure emerged. It was Mr. Blackwood, or rather, what was left of him. His eyes were hollow, and his flesh hung loosely from his bones. "You should not have come here," he rasped. "The darkness demands its due." Before they could react, the ground beneath them began to shake. The walls of the chamber seemed to close in, and a vortex of shadowy figures swirled around them. Mark, Lisa, and Tom were pulled into the darkness, their screams echoing through the void. Jessica, the last remaining, clung to the altar, her mind racing for a way out. In a final act of desperation, she grabbed a candle and plunged it into the heart of the vortex. The shadows recoiled, and a deafening roar filled the chamber. When the light returned, Jessica found herself alone in the now silent room. The altar was gone, and the markings on the walls had faded. Trembling, she made her way back through the school and into the forest, never looking back. Years later, the townsfolk still speak of the brave group who ventured into Wilburn Academy, but only Jessica knows the true horror that lurks within its walls. She never spoke of that night, but the haunted look in her eyes told a story more terrifying than words ever could. The academy still stands, a silent sentinel of the past, waiting for the next group of curious souls to venture into its cursed halls.